My name is Jonathan. I'm one of the trainers of the Peer Support Training Program. So I work with a co-facilitator and deliver an 8-week peer support training program here at MDAO. But I was also a participant as well in the drop-in groups, and that's how I ended up finding out about MDAO. You know what? I think that's what makes them like really passionate service providers, right? They've been through really traumatic and challenging circumstances in their own life. They've encountered a bunch of different resources, whether it's clinical resources or person-centered resources. They know what works for them, and maybe they even know like what works for someone who's dealing with that challenge in their life right now. And you can really see the passion come out of someone who's been there and been exposed to a similar environment, like the person that they're helping. Makes for a much better peer support worker.
Why does it make for a better peer support worker?
I think the ability to like empathize and like genuinely like authentically empathize. There's a lot of you very easily relate to someone's feeling, but unless you've been through in the actual circumstance of like losing something or like having a strong desire to like maybe use a substance or having family breakdowns, unless you've actually been in that context, your ability to be really genuine and authentic with relating to that person is a lot more difficult, and you're able to like kind of just understand like what they're sharing with you a lot better. You have a much clearer perspective about what they're talking about. Yeah, so that's one of the topics that we actually talk about on the peer support training is this illness-centered approach versus the person-centered approach. And we don't take sides and we don't say that one's better than the other. One of the big things that we actually talk about is they're both mutually beneficial and they're both very much needed in the mental health system. But the peer support side is definitely a very person-centered approach. So we're focusing on the individual and like holistically what makes that person up, and all the different circumstances in their life that may impact their mental health. So whether it's family or career, education or housing, and when someone feels like those root causes are being addressed, that you're able to have a bigger rapport and a better connection with the person that you're supporting. And like I said, the illness-centered approach is something that we also value in the peer support world. There are a lot of things that the illness-centered approach can provide that the person-centered approach can't provide, and those work really well hand in hand. There are multiple ways to get involved. I think for me, I kind of set like two personal sort of criteria for myself when I thought about getting involved the first time. One, like you want to have like an intrinsic desire to help lift someone else up, right? Especially someone else that's struggling, that's going through trauma in their life. You can't. Some of the most effective peer support workers are coming into that environment. They're solely to lift the other person up and help them feel better and help bring wellness to their life. If you come in with some sort of hidden agenda, then it creates a barrier between the client and yourself. And then the second reason I think is you want to have to continue learning. Like peer support is always an evolving role. The mental health is evolving. There's always new research that's coming out. So just continuously learning about what are new strategies and how to engage with people that are dealing with various symptoms and what are the best ways to empower them. Those are two sort of personal things that I set for myself, but at Hope and Me, like the organization is so welcoming and so open and inviting of people from all backgrounds and various cultures and various mental health challenges to give back. So there's the administrative process of going through the registration and an interview, but then there is a requirement to attend an 8-week training session, which I think, like I said, it's the most beneficial training I've ever done in my life working in the sector, but it's also incredibly important. You can't just jump into a peer support role and expect to do good without being trained, because you could also do a lot of harm if you're not well equipped. So absolutely.
Are the volunteer opportunities within Hope and Me, or just anywhere?
It's a really good question. The course that we deliver is based off of principles and values from the Mental Health Commission of Canada. So it's recognized across the country for any organizations that are adopting the Mental Health Commission of Canada principles. So the peer support training not only can it be used in really any sort of mental health environment, any mental health organization, but it can also just be used in your own individual lives. And we talk about one of the things in the course that peer support can happen anywhere. It can happen in a setting like here at Hope and Me, or it can happen in a coffee shop, or it can happen on a park bench somewhere. So yeah, it can be used in various organizations, but also just with your friends and your family members as well, which is really great. Yeah, the training could be very therapeutic for yourself. Like learning how to sort of use your own lived experience and share it with someone else who's dealing with a similar circumstance just naturally ends up bringing a lot of therapeutic benefits. To share coping strategies with someone else also reinforces your own coping strategies. To share just different community resources with someone else, again, reinforces your own community resources. But it's certainly like, learning how to talk to someone, learning about different cultural impacts to mental health, learning about active listening and barriers that get in the way to actively listening. Those are all really therapeutic aspects of peer support. And I have a lot of participants that complete our course and tell us like they've gained so much individually just as a student in the class with their own mental health. And in fact, me as a trainer, I've taught the course numerous times now, and I benefit individually. I'm always growing after teaching the course and growing listening to other people talk about their own mental health challenges. So it's definitely very therapeutic for the peer support worker themselves.
So people take the training. What opportunities do they have to practice the skills they're learning?
Yeah, so Hope and Me, we have a pretty concrete process in terms of what happens after the training is completed. So all of our participants that successfully complete the peer support training course is required to do shadow sessions. So our shadow sessions could either be in a group environment where you're assisting multiple people that are dealing with mental health struggles in their life, and you're shadowing someone that's already kind of a veteran or seasoned facilitator. And you could also shadow a one-to-one session as well. So you'll be sitting in the room with one other client and another peer support worker, and just kind of taking more of a backseat role in that environment, mostly doing a lot of listening and jumping into the conversation where it's appropriate. But the goal for those shadow sessions is really to just build and apply what you've learned in a classroom-based environment. MDO is also Hope and Me is also really emphasizes the continuous learning. So we have meetings that are called Community of Practice meetings, or COP meetings. And these meetings happen on a monthly basis, and it's an opportunity for all our peer support workers to come together and just discuss like what are best practices, what are some challenges, what are some strengths that are happening, and just look over case studies. So that's another way to continue learning and also applying your stuff that you learned in the classroom environment. But then once that's completed, there's always opportunities to just join other programs. So we have a RAP program, we have various one-on-one and drop-in and registered programs. So the peer support training that they receive can definitely apply to various circumstances, both here at Hope and Me and also other organizations across the province.
At what point then are people feeling skilled enough to mentor themselves?
Yeah, I think that's one of the questions that we get asked a lot is when we complete the whole course and we do a checkout for all the participants, they're always one of their concerns is, I don't know if I'm ever going to be ready enough. I don't know that, there's always this like concern if, are you going to say the wrong thing? Are you going to not be able to have a good positive relationship with someone? And to me, I think those are actually really great concerns to have, because it puts you in that right frame of mind to know that the job you're getting into is serious, it's important, it's really valuable, and it requires some sort of skill. And if someone came into that role thinking that there's no concerns at all, like that would be kind of a different reaction. But I don't think someone is ever perfect, ever reaches like the ideal point where they're the perfect mentor or the perfect peer support worker. It's a continuous learning process. We always emphasize that. There's always debrief sessions. I know for myself, like I've been doing peer support work for years, and it's still debrief with supervisors, still touch base with them about whether there was a better approach to how I dealt with something. But it's a continuous learning process. one of the big things about peer support work is like empowering people to use what they already have in their own lives to bring wellness to their life. It's not about implementing tools in someone else's life. It's not about dictating or directing. It's just about working collaboratively to use what's already in this person's life, or just strengthening it or bolstering it to help empower them to just continue to achieve more wellness. Absolutely. I just wanted to kind of emphasize that peer support can be really valuable to everyone, the peer support worker and the peer itself. And I keep mentioning that this is probably one of the best courses I've ever done in my entire life. Not only is it so amazing to help lift someone else up that's really like having a difficult, challenging circumstance in their life, but it also helps me grow as a person. Like I'm always learning like how to actively listen to someone, how to empathize, like how to understand the different barriers that different cultures are experiencing when it comes to mental health. It just helps create a more well-rounded person, both for the peer and the peer support worker. I'm always growing in this role, and it gives me multiple perspectives, opens up my mind to like different things that are out there in our communities that are impacting people's mental health. And I recommend everyone, always talk to my friends and my family about the course, that it's so worthwhile. This is something that I really think should be mandated in like different institutions, whether it's in a workplace or an education or a family setting. It's incredibly beneficial for everyone, and it provides some meaningful resources to the mental health community, which, like I mentioned, is already very severely saturated, and it's really sometimes can be very difficult accessing support. Peer support is a great resource to mend that gap that's out there.